Has this ever happened to you? That sound, the ding-dong of the doorbell, it cuts through the quiet of your afternoon. Someone is outside. They want to come in, say hello, maybe stay for a chat. But instead of excitement, you feel this knot in your stomach. It's an immediate, almost primal resistance, a voice in your head that's just screaming, "Please, no." It's not that you hate people. You're not mad at the world. But if you're being totally honest with yourself, you just don't enjoy having visitors. You love your quiet home. You cherish your uninterrupted routine, your precious, carefully preserved energy. If this sounds even remotely familiar, just take a deep breath. Because in this video, we're going to talk about something that almost nobody admits out loud. The real, deeply personal, and often misunderstood reason why some of us just can't stand it when someone enters our personal space. And let me tell you right now, no, you are not rude. You are not antisocial. According to Carl Jung, the legendary founder of analytical psychology, this feeling might actually point to something much, much deeper about who you are. Today, I'm going to walk you through 6 powerful insights from Jung that explain why some people just don't like having visitors. And more importantly, why that's not only natural, but could actually be a sign of a profound and valuable psychological journey you're on. So, stick with me until the end. Because if you've ever felt a pang of guilt for just wanting to be left alone, you might discover today that this feeling has far more to do with your personal growth than with any kind of character flaw. And hey, before we dive into Jung's brilliant mind, if this is already hitting home for you, do me a favor and hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. It really helps us create more content like this. And drop a comment below. I'm genuinely curious. Do you also get that feeling of discomfort when someone just shows up at your door? Let me know if you see yourself in this. Part 1. The invisible toll of a simple visit. Have you ever looked at your friends who seem to thrive in social situations? The ones who love hosting parties, having people over, their homes constantly buzzing with energy, and wondered, what's wrong with me? You might enjoy a good conversation. You might have wonderful relationships. But the moment someone suggests coming over to your house, something inside you just recoils. It's like the very idea of a guest in your space is physically draining. Well, there's a powerful explanation for this, and it comes from one of the giants of psychology, Carl Jung. He was the one who first gave us the terms we all use today, introvert and extrovert. But here's where most people get it wrong. Jung wasn't just talking about being shy or outgoing. He was talking about something much more fundamental, the direction and flow of our psychic energy. Think of it like a battery. An extrovert directs their energy outward. They get their charge from the external world, from social interactions, new experiences, and constant stimulation. Being around people literally recharges their battery. An introvert, on the other hand, works in the complete opposite way. Their energy is directed inward. They recharge their battery from their inner world, from silence, reflection, and solitude. So, when they're exposed to too much external stimulation, long conversations, unexpected visitors, constant noise and interruptions, their internal battery starts to drain and fast. Their mind isn't just getting tired, it's entering a state of self-preservation. It's not arrogance, it's a deep psychological need. And this is the absolute key to understanding yourself. Not liking visitors isn't a social failure. It's a direct expression of your fundamental energy system. If you lean more towards introversion, and so many of us do without even realizing it, then your home is more than just 4 walls and a roof. It's your sanctuary. It's your charging station. It's the sacred space where your entire psychological system recalibrates and finds its balance. So, when someone walks through that door, even with the kindest intentions, they are disrupting a very delicate process. Their presence, their energy, their conversation, it forces you to switch from recharge mode to performance mode. You have to activate your persona, which is Jung's term for our social mask. And putting on that mask, especially in the one place you're supposed to be mask-free, is deeply, profoundly exhausting. As Jung himself said, introversion isn't a choice. It's a disposition of the soul. Trying to fight against it is like trying to swim against a powerful current. It only leads to more burnout and internal conflict. People might look at you and think, oh, they're so reserved, or they just don't like being social. But they're missing the bigger picture. What they perceive as coldness is actually a form of self-protection. It's a psychological shield, an invisible boundary that your mind instinctively puts up to protect your inner world. And this leads us to an even deeper concept from Jung: the shadow. The shadow is the part of your psyche that holds everything you've suppressed or disowned about yourself. It's not necessarily evil or bad. It's just hidden. It's made up of old fears, unresolved feelings, unspoken wounds, and even undeveloped talents you were taught to hide. Imagine this. The doorbell rings. You let your guest in. You sit down. You start making small talk. But instead of feeling relaxed, you feel this growing sense of unease. It's a strange, crawling discomfort, and you can't even put your finger on why. Here's what might be happening on an unconscious level. The mere presence of that other person, their tone of voice, their mannerisms, their energy could be unintentionally poking at a blind spot in your psyche. It's triggering something dormant in your shadow. This is why Jung famously said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." Sometimes that fate shows up as social anxiety. A seemingly harmless visit suddenly stirs up a storm of irritation, a feeling of being invaded, an almost physical urge to just say, "I need you to leave." It's not you being a jerk. It's your unconscious mind desperately trying to protect its integrity, to keep the fragile inner work you're doing from being trampled on. And here's the really interesting part. The shadow doesn't just hold your wounds. It also holds your greatest potential, your hidden strengths, your creativity, your deepest truths that you haven't yet dared to live out. The more you force yourself to live on the surface, to be polite, to smile through social events you hate, to welcome visitors when you're drained, the less space your true self has to breathe. So, if you feel that overwhelming need to be alone, if the very thought of guests makes you want to hide, it could be your shadow trying to send you a message. It's whispering, "Hey, you need this quiet. You need this space. You need to be with yourself right now." And learning to listen to that whisper isn't a weakness. It's an act of profound courage. Part 2. The sacred temple of you. Do you know that feeling? The one that washes over you the moment you get home after a long, draining day. You close the door, and the sound clicks shut behind you, sealing you off from the noise and demands of the world. You kick off your shoes, take that first deep, cleansing breath, and you can just be. In that moment, your home is more than just a building. It's an extension of you. In Jungian psychology, the home isn't just a physical place. It's one of the most powerful symbols for the human soul. It's a living map of your inner world. Think about it. The living room, where you entertain others, represents your social self, your persona. The bedroom is the seat of your intimacy and vulnerability. The kitchen is where you find emotional and physical nourishment. The attic holds your higher aspirations and thoughts, while the basement contains the deep, dark, and often unexplored territory of your unconscious, your shadow. And the front door? That's the most important part. It is the sacred boundary between your inner self and the outer world. So when someone crosses that threshold, your unconscious mind doesn't just register a physical person entering a room. It senses a foreign energy, an entire universe of thoughts, stories, unresolved tensions, and expectations, stepping directly into the heart of your psyche. If you're a naturally sensitive or introverted person, or if you're unconsciously on that path of personal growth that Jung called individuation, this intrusion can feel overwhelming. It's like someone walking into a quiet library and turning on a boombox. The peace is shattered. The delicate inner work you were doing is instantly disrupted. Jung believed that our external spaces are often a mirror of our internal state. If you feel calm and at peace in your home, it's a good sign that your inner world is in a state of relative harmony. But if you feel that having visitors rattles you, that it injects a kind of static into the air and destroys the precious silence, it might be your soul whispering a very important message. This space is under construction. I'm not ready for tours. And that is perfectly okay. Protecting your home isn't about being inhospitable. It's about protecting yourself. In the world of depth psychology, learning to honor and enforce your boundaries is a non-negotiable step toward becoming a whole, integrated person. So if you have ever felt that sting of guilt for not wanting to open your door, I want you to hear this loud and clear. You are not isolating yourself. You are honoring the temple where your soul lives. Now let's talk about that mask. Have you ever stood in your own kitchen, putting on a polite smile for a guest, making coffee, and asking them about their week, all while a secret, frantic monologue is running in your head? When are they going to leave? I feel so drained. I just want to sit in silence. Please, please, just let this be over soon. It sounds harsh when you say it out loud, doesn't it? It can make you feel like a terrible, ungrateful person. But again, let's look at this through Jung's eyes. He gave this experience a name: the persona. The persona is the curated version of ourselves that we present to the world. It's our professional self, our friendly neighbor self, our dutiful family member self. It's the mask we wear to navigate social situations smoothly. The persona isn't inherently bad or fake. It's a necessary tool that helps us function in a complex society. The problem arises when we are forced to wear that mask in the one place we should be able to take it off: our own home. For people who are highly sensitive or introverted, a visit from a guest can feel less like a friendly chat and more like an impromptu stage performance. Suddenly, you're not just you anymore. You're the host. You have to monitor your facial expressions, carefully choose your words, manage the flow of conversation, and worry about whether the lighting is right or if you have enough snacks. Every single one of these actions consumes a massive amount of psychic energy. Jung warned that while the persona is necessary, we run into trouble when we mistake it for our true self. When that happens, he said, the soul begins to cry out. And maybe that deep resistance you feel to having visitors is your soul crying out. It's not about the people themselves. It's about the exhausting, soul-crushing feeling of having to perform in your own sanctuary. It's the agony of pretending to be on when all you desperately want is to be off. And here is a liberating truth, grounded in over a century of psychological wisdom. You have the right to be fully and unapologetically yourself in your own home. You are allowed to say no to visits. You are allowed to be unavailable. Because every time you stretch yourself thin trying to please someone else, you are abandoning a piece of yourself. This brings us to the deepest reason of all. There are moments, or even entire seasons of life, where you just need to be alone. Not because you're sad or dramatic, but because your soul is urgently calling for silence. We live in a culture that worships the extrovert ideal, the person who is always connected, always active, always on. But Carl Jung saw it completely differently. For him, that powerful impulse to withdraw from the world was often the very first step on the most important journey of a person's life, the path of individuation. So what is individuation? Simply put, it's the process of becoming who you were truly born to be. It's about shedding the layers of who you thought you were supposed to be, the version shaped by society, your parents, and your own persona, and courageously embracing your true, whole self. This includes your light and your shadow, your strengths and your weaknesses, your conscious mind and your unconscious depths. And this sacred process does not happen at a noisy party. It happens in the quiet. It happens in the retreat. It happens in the pause. That's why your discomfort with visitors isn't just a quirky personality trait. It could be a sign that your soul is trying to clear your schedule. It's protecting you from distractions so you can finally hear the profound wisdom that's trying to bubble up from within. As Jung beautifully put it, loneliness does not come from having no people about one, but from being unable to communicate the things which seem important to oneself. And how can you possibly listen to what's important when you're in the middle of a conversation that doesn't feed your soul, with a guest who has overstayed their welcome? The truth is, some phases of our lives demand a conscious retreat. You aren't withdrawing to escape from life. You're withdrawing so you can return to it more whole, more honest, and more you. So while the world is knocking on your door, demanding your attention and your presence, your inner world is asking for something much simpler. It's saying, stay here a little longer. Don't open the door just yet. You need to take care of yourself first. And as we'll discover in our final part, answering that call is about more than just setting boundaries. It's about embodying a powerful ancient archetype that holds the key to turning your solitude from a source of guilt into a source of wisdom. Part 3, the wisdom of the hermit. I want you to picture an image. It's ancient, and it's powerful. An old, wise figure walking alone on a quiet path in the dead of night. They hold a single lantern, and its light cuts through the darkness, illuminating only the next few steps ahead. This is the classic image of the hermit. In Jungian psychology, the hermit is an archetype. An archetype isn't just a character. It's a universal pattern of energy, a primordial image that lives deep within the collective unconscious of all humanity. And the hermit archetype lives inside of you. It's that part of you that instinctively knows when it's time to withdraw. It's the voice that urges you to close the door, turn off the phone, and journey inward, not to escape the world, but to find something essential within it. The hermit lives in silence because he knows that the soul's truth can only be heard when the noise of the world fades away. This archetype doesn't represent sad, empty loneliness or a pathological fear of people. It represents the courage to turn inward, to face your own shadows, your own doubts, and your own fears, and in doing so, to discover your own brilliant inner light. That light is your truth, your wisdom, your essence. And no one else can give it to you. You have to find it for yourself. To do this sacred work, the hermit needs a sanctuary. And for many of us, that sanctuary is our own home. So if you feel that almost magnetic pull to cancel plans, to not answer the door, to simply remain in the quiet of your own space, it might be your inner hermit calling to you. He is asking you to slow down. He's pleading with you not to lose yourself in the constant chatter and demands of the outer world, but to reconnect with your own core. Jung believed that answering this call isn't just a preference. It's absolutely essential for your mental and spiritual health. Following the path of the hermit is also a quiet act of rebellion. It's a resistance against the frantic 24/7 pace of modern life, against superficial connections, and against the immense pressure to always be social and available. It is a profound act of self-love. It is soul care at its deepest level. So the next time you feel a pang of guilt for wanting to be alone, I want you to remember the hermit within you. He's standing there with his lantern, reminding you that your true light is found only after you've had the courage to walk through your own darkness. And it is completely, 100% okay to need the silence to find yourself again. Now that we've walked this path together, let's bring it all into focus. If Jung were here, he might tell you that this discomfort you felt for so long is actually your psyche, giving you a set of profound truths about yourself. Your feeling isn't a flaw, it's a compass. Let's distill everything we've talked about into 6 clarifying truths. First, you are more sensitive to energy than you realize. Jung taught that the unconscious perceives what the conscious mind often misses. You feel the vibe of a room. You absorb the unspoken tensions, the hidden emotions, and the psychic noise that other people carry with them. A visitor doesn't just bring their body, they bring their entire energetic world into your home, and for your system, that is exhausting to process. Second, your psyche desperately needs space to breathe. What the world might label as laziness or being unsocial is, in reality, your mind's essential maintenance process. Time alone in silence is how your soul sorts through information, integrates experiences, and reestablishes its equilibrium. A single ill-timed visit can throw that entire delicate process into chaos. Third, constant social performance alienates you from your true self. Every polite conversation you force, every smile you fake when you're feeling drained, puts another layer between you and your authentic core. It's not that you dislike people, it's that to be with them, you often have to abandon yourself, and your soul is tired of being abandoned. Fourth, the mere presence of others can activate your shadow. Remember the shadow? That hidden part of you? Sometimes, a visitor's innocent remark or simple presence can poke an old wound or a suppressed feeling, causing you to feel irritable or anxious for no apparent reason. It's not about them. It's about what they unconsciously trigger in you. Fifth, your desire to withdraw is likely a sign of your individuation. This isn't a step backward. It's the beginning of the most important journey of your life. You are starting to shed the person you were told to be, so you can become the person you truly are. Your soul is asking for the space to do this sacred work. And finally, the 6th and most important truth. You are learning to listen to yourself. You are learning to say no without drowning in guilt. You are learning to protect your boundaries without feeling rude. You are learning that every time you are kind, when you don't have the energy for it, you betray your own needs. And you've simply realized that you can't live like that anymore. It is time to honor your soul. Now, the big question. How do you live this truth in a world that doesn't always understand? Finding the balance between the hermit's call for solitude and our genuine human need for connection is an art. First, learn to recognize your inner signals. Is your body tense? Is your mind racing? Are you feeling irritable? These are signs your battery is flashing red. When you feel this, give yourself permission to slow down, even if it means changing plans. Second, communicate your needs simply and clearly. You don't owe anyone a long, complicated explanation. A simple, "I'm not up for a visit today. I really need some quiet time for myself," is honest, respectful, and enough. The people who truly care for you will understand. Third, consciously create sacred time and space. This could be your first hour of the morning with a cup of tea before anyone else is awake. It could be a specific chair in your home that is your no-interruption zone. These rituals protect your energy and honor your inner hermit. And finally, be gentle with yourself. You are not a machine. You are not meant to be on and socially available 24/7. Honoring your need for solitude is honoring the rhythm of your soul. This is the path to becoming whole. Music swells to a gentle, resolving crescendo. Visuals are warm, peaceful, and validating. A person smiling softly to themselves, watering a plant, writing in a journal. We've reached the end of our journey for today, but for you, it's really just the beginning. We've explored Jung's truths, we've met the hermit, and we've reframed solitude not as a problem, but as a source of profound power. If you take only one thing away from this video, let it be this. Your way of being in the world is valid. Your need for quiet is not a weakness. It is a sign of depth. Your boundaries are not walls. They are acts of profound self-respect. You do not need to change your fundamental nature to fit into a world that is too loud. Your home, your silence, your solitude. These are the sacred grounds where your soul can finally heal, renew itself, and grow. And it is there, in that quiet, intimate space, that you will find the strength to meet the world again, not on its terms, but on yours, wholly, authentically, and peacefully yourself.